Get ready, folks, because what we're about to discuss today could completely change the trajectory of the Raptors this season. I'm talking about an analysis that goes deep into the statistics and reveals some shocking data that could define the team's future. We're going to dive into 5 numbers that explain what's going on with the Raptors and why they're off to a rocky start. But before we get into the details, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I guarantee you won't want to miss a single update about the Raptors, so let's get started. Get ready because these 5 points are just numbers. They bring out the heart and soul of this team, and by the end, you'll have a much clearer picture of what to expect from the Raptors this season. Starting with one of the most intriguing points, the Raptors' offensive rebounding rate isn't just up. They're leading the entire NBA with an impressive 36.6%. This is an above-average number and shows that the Raptors have returned to a style of play that is reminiscent of the last few years. Under Coach Nick Nurse, if you follow that era, you will remember that the team tried to compensate for its offensive limitations by creating as many opportunities as possible. And despite the injuries that have plagued the team, the Raptors are managing to produce an average of 18.5 second chance points per game. This means that even in a critical moment, the Raptors are finding ways to fight on the court, even without their main stars. Now imagine the potential this team has. When all players are back and healthy, this type of determination in offensive rebounding could be the difference. The Raptors need to find stability and create a solid foundation for future victories. Now let's talk about the new coach, Darko Raikovic, and his impact on the Raptors. When he took over, Darko promised to bring the famous Spurs style of play to Toronto. This idea of ball circulation has been rigorously applied, and the result is clear. The Raptors have an assist rate of 28.4 per 100 possessions, ranking 4th in the entire NBA. This is a drastic change from the heavy isolation style we saw previously. The most interesting thing is that even without some of their key players, the team is managing to create a more collaborative and efficient offense. When Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel quickly return, this assist average is set to improve even more. This represents a big step for the Raptors, who are managing to maximize their offensive potential. Even though the team has limitations in long-range shooting, now we come to the team's biggest weakness, three-point shooting. This is the Raptors' Achilles heel. With an average of 10.6 three-pointers per game, the team is in second to last place in the league. This means that even though they create many second-chance opportunities, the team is leaving important points behind. When it comes to long-range shooting, Grady Dick has been a light at the end of the tunnel in this area. But Toronto is still well behind what it needs to be to remain competitive in a game that currently relies heavily on three-point shooting. The hope is that with Quickly's return, the team can address this weakness a bit. However, it is still clear that the Raptors need to invest more in perimeter firepower to be able to compete on equal terms with the strongest teams in the league. This is something to watch throughout the season and could be decisive for the team's success or failure. And now let's talk about defense, where the situation is even more alarming. The Raptors have a defensive rating of 118.4, which puts the team as the second worst in the league in this regard, and this raises a serious question. Will the Raptors' defense be able to reorganize itself in time to turn the situation around? The Raptors are trying to intensify the pressure on the ball, but defensive lapses continue to cost the team dearly. This has made life easier for opponents, who can shoot without much resistance or get to the paint with little opposition. In addition, the lack of a reliable backup center makes the problem even more evident. When Jakob Poeltl leaves the court, the Raptors are left with virtually no solid presence in the paint, and even with the efforts of players like Ochai Agbaji, simply does not have the strength and depth necessary the team to compete at a high level defensively. Now let's talk about fouls, the constant problem of youth and inexperience. With an average of 24.4 personal fouls per game, the Raptors, ranked last in the league in this regard, is largely due to the fact that Toronto, the successive amount of fouls, was relying on too many young and inexperienced players, which ends up leading to frequent mistakes. Facing one of the toughest schedules in the league hasn't helped, and this start to the season has been a real test for the young Raptors, but as we know, good teams can draw fouls from their opponents, while developing teams end up committing more fouls. That's the reality for the Raptors right now. So what do you think of this scenario? Will the Raptors be able to overcome these challenges? Or are we on the verge of a tough season? I want to hear your opinion. So leave your comment below. And before you leave, remember, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and always stay up to date with everything about the Raptors. This season still has many surprises, and I'll be here bringing you all the updates.